Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property. Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about mortgages. Today we're going to talk about loans and what actually scared me a lot every single time I got into real estate. I'm going to be so serious with you guys. I'm going to be so upfront and honest with you. This is going to be stuff that you have never ever heard before, right? And I'm going to just be upfront. Everybody's going to have a different experience. Everybody's going to want something different or feel something different. But I'm going to be completely upfront and we're going to get straight into it. So, granted, I am so blessed because I was a stock market junkie. All right, I have to bring up stocks, even though we're talking about real estate today. But I was a stock market junkie. I was making some money. I was making 30% returns in the stock market at the time, in I believe 2020, when my uncle finally showed me the appreciation that he got in his real estate portfolio was $20,000 in, I believe, 3 months or a year. And I looked at that and I said, wow, my 30% return was only $2,000. Now, granted, he's playing with a lot more money when it comes to real estate, right? If a $400,000 house goes up to another $20,000, what is that? Only a 10% return? No, not even 5% return. And so, to me, that $20,000 was a huge amount of money that I'm like, whoa, I'm not gonna get that return in the stock market anytime soon. All I did was get about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So I got some work to do. Maybe I should get into real estate. All right, boom, my cousin bought a house. Now I'm like, oh, my cousin, he's about 3-4 years older than me. Okay, he bought a house. There must be something to this. Now I'm looking, I'm renting my own luxury apartment, 2-bedroom house. And I'm like, all right, I'm paying about $1,300 a month, plus gas, utilities, water, all that good stuff. I'm probably spending about $1,600 to $1,700 a month on this place that I'm renting. All right, so for this 2-bedroom home, I might as well go ahead and find me a property. So I started looking. I told this story plenty of times, but I looked at over 40 houses with my real estate agent, over 40. By the time I got past 30, trust me, I knew the market. I knew what houses were going for. I knew what they would sell for. I knew that I would continue to be outbid by $5,000, $10,000. I knew that people were just going and selling leftover, right? 3% interest rates, 2% interest rates, couldn't be beat. And people just were smarter than me. They just knew, oh, because the interest rate is so low, and I thought that this was always the rate because I was just getting started. Because the interest rate was so low, they didn't care that they was paying $5,000, $10,000 more. It didn't mean anything to them. They wanted that property. They wanted that because they knew that it would be a cash cow. It would be the moneymaker for them. Now, for me, I had a house that just fell out of contract. My uncle asked me to go and see this duplex, so I go and check it out. I check out the duplex. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. And then I check out the single family home that had just fell out of contract. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. And then I'm like, oh, the duplex obviously would be a better idea. The neighbors were better and more friendly. I liked that. But they had competing offers. And so automatically I already knew that duplex was going to be up another $10,000, $15,000 if I were to start competing on that duplex. So what I did is I asked for $5,000 off the single family house. They agreed immediately. All right. Now, this was a new build and a new renovation. And so they probably haven't been in that market of low interest rates for too long. They probably didn't have a lot of bidders and they just fell out of contract. So they're not trying to price their house really too high because, listen, they just scared off every other buyer recently and $5,000 is nothing. So they're trying to get this house sold. Okay, cool. So they lowered their price by $5,000. So instead of me bidding on a home for $10,000-$15,000 more, I got $5,000 off of a house during the lowest interest rates possible. I love that for me. And so when I bought that property, I was scared because I had no money. I had no money after I put 10% down on a $140,000 house plus closing costs. I was all in about $19,500. And so at that point, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to work. And so I'm at my job. I was a general manager at Tim Hortons at the time. I was at my job hitting it, just doing everything that I possibly could in order to stack. And I tell you, every single time that I bought a property, the way that I didn't spend money for that entire month is insane. When I say it's insane, I mean it's absolutely insane. Like, you wouldn't believe how I go from spending literally over $1,200 a month on stuff, like going out to eat, hanging out with friends, doing things like that. Now, of course, it's all in the budget, right? But when it comes to buying a property, I do not spend a dollar. You would think that I lived at work, and I do. But a lot of the times when I was buying these properties, I was actually in the restaurant industry. So, you know, you get a free meal at work. I would not eat anywhere else. So I would be working 60, 70 hours a week. I'd be eating at work. And, you know, like, I'm on salary, so I'm not getting anything more for working all these extra hours. So at least I got fed. And yeah, my credit card balance was low. You'd be surprised when you just see one expense and it'd be your phone payment, right? Like, I was shocked. I was so shocked that I really didn't spend any money whatsoever. I was so grateful to see my discipline. And yes, I had to say no to a lot of things, especially when you had women around you during the time or whatever you're interested in. You got to start saying no. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not going out. No, I'm not doing anything because I'm focused. And when you step into that home, wow, it's scary. It's scary for the first time because now you have this expense. Now you have this thing that you have to care for, that you got to take care of. But it starts to get easier and easier and easier with each passing month, with each passing day, with each passing year, because you're like, man, I've been doing this. I've been doing it and doing it well. What's that song? I'm doing it and doing it and doing it well. After a while, it just starts to get easy. And guys, do you understand? Every time I bought a property, I literally put my last dollar into it because I wanted to make sure that I got the monthly mortgage payment as low as I possibly could. And so when I bought my first property for 10% down, that's exactly what I had to do with this one that I'm currently in, 10% down. And every single time I had less than $1,000, $2,000 to my name. And so when I tell you how easy it is to stack $10,000 when you're really at your lowest, when you're really, really broke, it is insane. But now, God forbid I save more than $2,000 in a month. It is so difficult now because I already have my savings built. I already have so many stuff built that I don't really say no to anything anymore, right? But you have to also understand that I'm not taking away from my savings and I'm not going into debt. I'm just not saving as much, right? And so that's the big difference. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not taking away from my savings. I'm not going into debt. I'm just not saving as much in order to experience life with others. Now that I got that out the way, I will still always be disciplined enough to where I'm not going to sacrifice my financial freedom for short-term fun and experiences. So with that being said, when I bought the second house, I was on it. I had to grind right back. I wasn't going to the grocery store because I was working and taking any type of overtime that I could get because this time I was an hourly employee. I believe I was making $20 an hour when I first bought this property, and I was doing 50 hours a week. And so that 10 hours was overtime for me that was really, really necessary and really, really needed. And I was furnishing the home because I felt like I was going to make this house a home. And so that was $10,000 in furnishings that I was also getting done at the same time while trying to stack and not go into debt, not put it on a credit card, just really grind it out. And I did. And over time, there was more and more and more things to add, but also more and more and more things that I did not need outside. So now I have the massage chair. Now I have the TV. Now I have the pool table. Now I have all these things that I don't need to go outside for. Right? And so when I'm inviting guests over, when I'm inviting people over, the cost for me is this. And when you have good friends, they actually bring stuff like drinks, but if you're a good host, you're also doing the same thing, right? But yeah, I will tell you, every single time it was a panic. You got something to take care of. You got something that you now have to be responsible for. And the first couple of months, it's a grind. Not only do I got to care for this, but I got to build my savings back up. Anything can happen. An emergency could happen. A leak could happen. A roof could collapse. And, that's also luck. To be prepared, to be ready. I had a rehabbed home that I first bought, right? Newly renovated. A lot of people think newly renovated homes, there's no issues. Sometimes there's a lot of issues if they're not built right. Thankfully for me, it was. And so I haven't had many issues outside of a sink leaking several times. And we've gotten that fixed several times. But aside from that, yeah, life has been really, really good. And I've been really, really lucky because when you put your last into something so that you get the lower monthly payment, you're not ready for an emergency if it were to happen. And I was just lucky enough that that didn't happen. And I always tell myself, yeah, I can continue to do that. But if you do that 10 times, 2 or 3 of those times, you're going to fall into an issue where there's actually a problem in that home. And now that strategy is no longer as beneficial. And so sometimes it's okay to take risks, but you got to understand what that comes with, right? So I always weigh the pros and the cons and I say, okay, I did my inspection, I did my this, I did my that. What if X, Y, and Z happen? Am I ready? And that's why you got to grind so hard off rip if you do decide to take that strategy, because that strategy is super risky to not leave no money in order to have repairs and everything ready. But did it work out for me? Absolutely. Because now I have the lowest monthly payment that I could have had at the time. And I'm making more money, I'm earning more, I'm doing more, I'm paying stuff down as quickly as possible, which means I maximize my ability to afford the homes. I maximize my ability to earn cash flow. I maximize my ability to get financial freedom quicker and earlier by putting everything I had into it at that time. And so, yes, it absolutely worked out for me. Now, when I say everything I had, that's excluding my stocks, because everybody knows everything I have does not include my stocks. That includes all of my savings. All right. And so I put all of my savings into the real estate at the time. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters. And I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.